Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're very, very lucky to have with us President Paul Kagame of Rwanda. We're grateful, Mr. President, that you're here. It's also very special for me since the President hosted me and my wife Sonia recently in Kigali. We're very lucky to have the First Lady of Panama here with us also. Thank you very much for being with us. Mr. President, we've been having for 2 days a conference of people coming from all over the world on the new Sustainable Development Goals. There's so much excitement, it's incredible. The day before yesterday, 1,000 students came to an SDG rally in the evening. Overflow capacity, students organizing around the world, SDSN Youth, the Sustainable Development Solutions Network Youth, and then from yesterday, and you see a completely packed hall for you, we've been having 2 days of meetings about how we're going to take on these new very, very bold goals that will be adopted tomorrow. Now, we have the perfect speaker to close our conference. I think it's right to say, Mr. President, that you are truly the MDG president, if I could say that, because you came to the presidency in the year 2000, together with the Millennium Development Goals and the Millennium. And Rwanda, of course, was in the post-genocide crisis and struggling for recovery. And there is no country in the world that made more progress during these 15 years than Rwanda. And it's been observed in the medical journals and the public health journals that Rwanda has had the fastest decline of child mortality in history. And that is under your lead and under your very strong guidance, and I think it's a remarkable achievement. And you know, Mr. President, it's been a great inspiration for all of us working on the Millennium Development Goals. And so it's also been fitting that President Kagame has been the co-chair of the MDG Advocates, which is the Secretary General's lead international group to advocate for the Millennium Development Goals. And since I've been the special advisor on the MDGs during this period, I've seen President Kagame's global reach and leadership able to tell the story of Rwanda and also able to inspire many sectors of the world economy to take a dynamic role. He also serves exactly in that function of pushing an inspiration as the co-chair of the UNESCO ITU, International Telecommunications Union, Broadband Commission. And as we had the discussion yesterday with Hans Vestberg of Ericsson, broadband is the delivery platform for the new SDGs. And on Sunday, President Kagame will chair the world industry leaders of broadband. And we were just discussing how they need a good push to take on the SDGs so that they're really doing everything they can do. For all of these reasons, we're extremely lucky, very interested. We're going to be listening intently to you, Mr. President, and after your remarks, we're going to have a chance for a discussion and for questions from a Twitter feed and from the audience. So everybody, please join me in welcoming President Kagame.
Professor Jeffrey Sachs, Director of the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the President of this great institution for the honor of this invitation. It is a real pleasure to be back at Columbia. We continue to be inspired by the openness of this institution and your practical approach to development. That starts with Jeff Sachs and his team. For as long as I can remember, Jeff's voice has risen above others, insisting that extreme poverty can be eradicated. Thank you, Jeff, for staying the course. The Columbia University teams have been following the progress towards MDGs in Rwanda, and in fact, contributing to it. Let me also say that Rwanda is happy to be associated with the Sustainable Development Solutions Network. We look forward to actively working with and supporting the proposed new SDG Center to be based in Africa. Poverty is part of the experience for millions of Africans and beyond who need no reminder of what that feels like to be trapped in its brutal grip. So when some say MDG efforts fell short, I say that's fine. At least something was learned. Others see numerous cases where success has been recorded and a debate about who or what deserves credit. But we cannot overlook the reality or the really important fact that there was some success, which means many lives have been improved. When MDGs were introduced in the 1990s, Rwanda was coming out of a dark period of our history, getting the debts of the previous governments cleared, and it was a moment at which we were most intensively engaged in working out how to forge a new national consensus on the most pressing issues facing us. These ranged from the particular problems of recovering from genocide to the challenges of development policy that every growing country has to deal with. The MDGs were timely in creating a new basis for the development partnerships necessary to build our country and create prosperity in the years ahead. We found that this set of goals linked our national vision for development to a wider global context and was well aligned with changes Rwandans wanted to see in their lives. The work of implementing the MDGs helped to build trust with funding partners while keeping the locus of responsibility where we believe it had to rest, with ourselves. Finally, it informed us and our partners whether we were or not on the right track. So as we move forward, to the new set of post-2015 goals, it is time to ask what will improve and make development sustainable. This is a complex question, but let's simplify it and the answer by looking at development as a triangle. The first point are solutions, the good ideas, and policies like the ones being brought out in meetings like this. The second point is money, the financing to implement the programs. To make development sustainable, there is a third point that is often overlooked, and that is the politics, good politics. In other words, the interaction between citizens and their leaders and partners. Sustainable development is not about what we, all of us here, do for them, the citizens, but about the choices they make each day over and over. We are working to provide the ways and the means to improve their lives. But it is also important to take the time to connect with these citizens, because in the end, they are the ones who implement these good ideas. We can start by recognizing the many contributions and quantify them that citizens themselves make. These amounts may look small compared to other sources of financing, but it's a big deal. Their contributions range from using their own money to buy necessary inputs, to time spent in community meetings, learning about new and better ways of doing things, to absorb risks now in order to make gains in the future. These are important measures of the commitment of citizens and communities, without which there would be little development. In other words, development is what happens when citizens are convinced about the logic and pace of change. Country systems must help people to understand their problems and collaborate to find solutions, including serving as a conduit for development partnerships. For Rwanda, there is nothing casual about the term lessons learned. We have been changed by real learning from our experiences and circumstances, and therefore we have had to do things differently, earning us different results. At the core of our political mobilization work are the principles of inclusiveness, taking responsibility and building consensus. We have created a decentralized service delivery system and promoted community ownership of local development priorities. citizens feel empowered to hold the government accountable. In Rwanda, state effectiveness is derived from success at forging a common national vision. This has enabled faster and deeper development results, and explains why the results achieved sometimes far surpass available resources. The SDGs are the next chapter in global collaboration on development, and hopefully a new opportunity to move away from the business as usual mode. The goals are more ambitious, and some would even say less focused. That is to be expected, given the progress of MDGs and also the reality that the most stubborn forms of poverty may be much harder to eradicate. What's key is that we have a new template for cooperation and dialogue for the next generation. For the SDGs to succeed, we need to have a more serious conversation about the forms of governance and the democratic participation required to get there. The challenge for all of us is to close the triangle of sustainable development. The SDGs offer hope of making the importance, meaning, and most importantly, practice of good politics more widely understood. Let's work to complement the new SDGs framework with a genuine effort to objectively assess the degree of citizen buy-in and involvement in decision-making and accountability. It's up to us to make the most of this new opportunity. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to start by thanking you and your government, your foreign minister here, a very distinguished foreign minister. We're grateful for you spending the entire day with us, because in the morning you were with the Leadership Council of the Sustainable Development Solutions Network. And the government of Rwanda has really very generously, and we are profoundly grateful, offered to host a new SDG Center of Excellence of the Sustainable Development Solutions Network in Kigali. And that's what the President is referring to, and we're making the public announcement now. This will be an Africa-wide initiative. It will engage the universities around Africa to help them to play a role in each of their countries, in each of their communities, to strengthen the processes of development through education, training, planning, engagement with government, engagement with the business community. And Mr. President, since we met, of course, we've been discussing this initiative after your very kind offer in Kigali during the summer. The enthusiasm all over the continent is very, very high. I was in Bloemfontein, South Africa last week, actually, and Chancellor Mogale of the University of Free State, who's the head of the South African Research Foundation, said, "We are in, we want to do this, we want to be part of this," and we have found the same response in Dakar, in Nairobi, all over the continent. So we're really excited about this. We're grateful. I can also perhaps say that President Kagame will co-chair this, and when he volunteered to do this, he said, "And please with a leading African business person alongside, because this should be truly a public-private partnership, and it should really engage the broad African community." So we're pursuing that, and we're going to be launching this in real practical terms, essentially immediately. We thank your ministry for all of the generosity of the host country agreement, and the Leadership Council this morning voted unanimously and with the huge acclamation for this proposal. So again, thank you very much. Great. Thanks a lot. Maybe if I could ask you and put you on the spot, what should we do with this new center? And maybe specifically, do you see particular ways that we can partner with the universities in Africa to make a tangible advance and difference that would be helpful from your perspective?
Oh, absolutely. I think to make it relevant and active to dealing with the problems for which it is created to address, we need to bring on board different partners. Universities would be one of them, and we would also partner with the private sector institutions, as some of the things you have alluded to, and make sure that we turn the center into a place where research, exchange of ideas, and drawing lessons from different good practices across the continent can take place, and therefore be disseminated where that is necessary.
Wonderful. We're asked, one of the questions that has come from the floor is how you view the climate change issues, especially with the lead up to Paris, and from Rwanda's vantage point and Africa's vantage point. What do we need? What should we be doing?
Well, first of all, science or different sources of knowledge and information have confirmed to us there is a problem, and different experiences also of different nations, small islands right in the middle of the ocean, or different places of our continent, talk about what they're experiencing that shows there is a problem taking place anyway, despite the different views and that are being aired. But I think maybe, I guess the views should be about how to go about it, not just that there isn't a problem. That is, for me, the starting point. The second one is in the implementation of what needs to be done in order to deal with climate change-related problems. We have to identify different areas of contributions in terms of practices or resources that would be put to good use in order to prevent or deal with already the problems that are happening. And here again, if I may relate this to the purpose of SDGs, for example, where you have the world that is, I would divide largely into two: the poor countries, the rich nations, And again, you have to overcome this issue of who pollutes more than the other, and then who does what. And so I think we have to have a level-headed approach to dealing with the issues, and indeed, so that everybody will do what we can do, because in the end, we are all affected. It doesn't matter who contributes more to the problem than the other. At the end of the day, we all suffer the consequences. In which case, then, I imagine as we look at solutions to apply to this problem, we will also be thinking of sharing the burden in a manner that can even have a formula for compensations in case some countries are affected by what is being done on the ground in search of a solution than the others. So I think we should go to Paris looking at and looking for real outcomes and solutions that we can leave Paris saying we have something in our hands, we are going to start doing what we need to do, all of us, in order to move forward on this issue that has been lost mainly in debates and arguments about who is right, who is wrong, but as the climate change problems get even more complicated. So I think we need to be level-headed, we need to be more pragmatic than has been the case in the past.
If you want to know how to achieve the MDGs or the SDGs, I think the two words of level-headed and pragmatic are really exemplary. Very important question, Mr. President, that has come, and the question is, what is the secret of Rwanda's success in having the highest female participation representation in the world? Because Rwanda, as you know, #1. So how did it happen, and what does it do for the country? What does it mean?
How it happened really is very simple. First of all, we have women to start with. Secondly, there are problems we know that have been there affecting women in our society that we had to deal with. And women constitute 52% of our population. And we thought we need to address, first of all, the rights of women. Second, and make sure the rights are achieved. The second is a socio-economic transformation issue. When you involve 52% of your population in these activities, then you understand the meaning of it. You have a higher chance of succeeding. So we simply realized that very early on and made sure that we implement some of the policies or the policies that we put in place to achieve gender equality, have our women educated, look at health issues affecting women, and we are not doing it at the expense of what must be done elsewhere. We are just doing it because it is necessary to do it. And as we were looking at the gender equality issues and addressing problems affecting women, we were also addressing problems affecting the whole society of our country. So we identified that women need to be in decision-making positions for them to fully participate in addressing country problems as well as their own problems, and make sure that they realize the very opportunity everyone of our citizens is looking to achieve.
Wonderful. I hope they're listening in Washington also, so it's, and everywhere else here. Thank you. We have time for one more question from an investor who says, my company is on the verge of making a major investment in Kigali to build ICT-based learning solutions. What is your vision for education in Rwanda?
Well, our vision for education simply is that, one, we start with making it a priority in our vision. Rwanda, we realize that the main resource of our country is our people. Therefore, we have prioritized investment in our people, in education, in their health, and we make sure that, in fact, right now, the enrollment rate for the first 12 years of education is close to 100%.
Wow.
And a big chunk of our national budget goes into education and health. So, and of course, we prioritize science and technology as part of creating the knowledge and information economy that we seek to have. Therefore, investing in information and communication technologies by this company is most welcome. And we have already created one of the best business environments you can imagine, not only in Africa, but in the world.
Wonderful. I think it's very thrilling. And in New York City, Mayor de Blasio last week announced that every public school would teach information technologies also, because this is the way of the future. Right. And so really infusing that in the education system. Well, I could say, Mr. President, one of the reasons that we were so thrilled with the idea of having the Africa-wide SDG Center in Kigali is that we're going to learn so much from your successes and your experience. And I know that it's going to create a remarkably dynamic and exciting process ahead. And I know we've reached the end of the time, but I want, on behalf of all of us, to wish you all continued tremendous successes in this new era, and to know that we're with you and admiring of all that you're accomplishing.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to thank everybody for participating in 2 tremendous days of brainstorming. I hope that you've been able to meet a lot of very interesting counterparts, good contacts, good exchange of email addresses, new plans for how you're going to continue this journey together. We will have the 4th International Conference on Sustainable Development next year, and you're all invited, and you're all expected, of course. And in the meantime, it's been thrilling to be together with you on the eve of Pope Francis's arrival, and on the eve of the new Sustainable Development Goals. So remember our historic occasion. Thank you all for your participation. Everybody travel safely and enjoy the fact that the world is setting a new course, and an important positive course. Thank you.